Well, first things first, there's no such thing as strong-arming Floyd Mayweather. It just doesn't work that way. But we'll get back to this. The UFC and Conor McGregor getting on the same page and hashing out the details on their end for the proposed super fight with McGregor is not as insignificant as some have tried to portray it. McGregor is under contract to the UFC, and if McGregor had tried to strike out on his own for the boxing match, the UFC could have gone to court to enforce their contract and tied things up indefinitely. Ask Randy Couture about that sometime. So Conor and the UFC coming to terms means both sides have found financial terms they can live with on their end of the equation. That's meaningful and bodes well for their relationship over the long haul. And, if nothing else, should the fight not be made, White can at least play the "hey, we did everything in our power to make this work" card in public. But, that said, all of this week's developments represent the easy part of the negotiations. McGregor needs this fight more than Mayweather. This is McGregor's one chance at making Mayweather money, barring, of course, an upset knockout win, in which case all bets are off. Mayweather doesn't need to take this fight if the terms aren't right. If and when he decides to come out of retirement, no matter his opponent, Floyd will make more money that night than McGregor will ever make in a UFC fight. Mayweather is the biggest draw in combat sports. He knows it. He's not shy about wielding this power. Check out how many years it took to put together Mayweather's fight with Manny Pacquiao. He can't draw things out that long this time around, simply because he's 40 and the clock's ticking. So there's still a long way to go before this fight gets made. But we've said that several times already over the past few months as one hurdle after another has cleared, and the fight is still on the table.